Hey guys, it's Matt. With only weeks before we go into the winter solstice, the first strange milestone, we don't have any time left. We have to get ourselves right. This is basically all I know in 10 years of researching every aspect of what we call dark reality. I try to put it together into one presentation. This is only what's important. We're leaving all the rabbit holes behind, all the truth or BS, the planes and no planes, and what really happened to the Pentagon. All that, we should be moving past that and never, ever revisit that. I think if you listen to this at 1.25 or accelerated, you're doing yourself a disservice, even if you know everything I'm presenting in certain sections. Someone would say, "Oh, I know that," or "I'll just clean the toilet while this is on in the background." It's not about just ticking boxes anymore. It's not about just collecting information. It's actually putting ourselves into a certain state, into a certain place as we go past the first of many milestones to come. There have been many in the past, but the first where we fully realize who we are and what potentially they are trying to do to us and why, how we have been used and played by this system, played to help create the reality that they want. It's not about, "Oh, I know that. Oh, Matt's going to present this. I'll just clean the toilet." It's about using something like this to actually make sure you are in this state of being, not just through the solstice, and then we can just go on and sing Kumbaya, to carry this state of being for the rest of our lives. This is the next step for us truthers, not determining what happened to the accounting office at the Pentagon. No, everything we have done, it hasn't been in vain. We've used conspiracy research to come to a certain place, a place we're arriving at now. It's time to leave all the nonsense behind and walk through the door in front of us. It's time to stop running on this hamster wheel. It wants us making these types of videos, not this type, hopefully, but the type I'll be referring to, or I have referred to in this and other videos, where we just chase the rabbit hole. We just try to figure out the scheme that they're using or plotting against us. That's exactly the rabbit hole that it wants us in. It's the hamster wheel that it wants us on, and it's how it's actually used us to put forth the reality that it wants. But all that research, it needed to happen for all of us. You know, you can't be told what the Matrix is, says Morpheus. "I can only show you, Neo. I can't tell you. You have to see it for yourself." Now, we've seen it, and it's time to move on. The winter solstice is less than a month away. Now, if you aren't a, quote, high-level Jedi, and you're still slogging through the conspiracy bog, all those details, I'm just not going to get into them anymore. We're out of time anyway. You can choose to trust me about certain things here and to see things a certain way or not. You know, I don't have any more time. We don't have more time collectively to explain every little thing or prove every little way that, quote, they go about in doing their business. We don't even want to look at them, how they do business anymore. We understand at the highest levels how they do business. We're out of time. The who, what, where, and how of how we're all getting screwed, the who, what, where, and how is a pointless pursuit from this moment going forward. Any YouTube video that comes up, "Oh, how did they do this?" or you should just say, "I'm past that. No, thank you." Now, the why of what they do, the minions on behalf of reality, the minions on behalf of the screen, the why can be important. Why are they doing this to us? That can be important, but only if it leads to a better understanding of ourselves. That's the only way to positively use the why. If it tells me about me, oh, I see who I am, because why would they want to do that to me if I wasn't that? First, a brief summary of our predicament, followed by what's really important. The world itself, the reality itself, is some sort of crafted illusion that desperately wants human beings to follow some sort of script and to read their assigned cue cards. Its script is carried forth by a lot of different things, part of which I call the minions. The script of reality is carried forth and laid down through society onto the people by things that look just like us in human form. We don't know exactly what they are, these minions. We'll leave that for later. It's carried forth, the script is carried forth by corporations, by governments, by other systems, and a variety of other component parts that comprise this general term of society. People will look at society out their window, and people around us will generally praise it. And if they have issues or problems with certain things inside the general overarching term of society, well, they'll just explain it away as the best a large government can do. Or, of course, there's going to be inefficiencies when things get this large, excuse after excuse. People, maybe you do, people down your cul-de-sac don't realize that its sole purpose, society as it's structured, its sole purpose is to rob you of the most important parts of you. All these agents of society work on behalf of something that we'll never be able to point at, something we'll never be able to identify. Therefore, we're done looking for it. It wants to be hunted. In understanding it, think of reality itself as sentient, almost like it's alive, no matter how much of that is true or not. To understand it, you have to think of it in those terms. Now, its goal is simple. The goal of reality itself, not just the minions like George Soros. You must think of a much higher level. Okay, that's just the outward representation, a George Soros minion of what I'm talking about. Its goal is simple: to get real people like you and I to abandon, forget, or never know who they really are. Let me repeat that. Its goal is to get real, spirited individuals, real beings of spirit like you and I, to abandon, forget, or never know who they really are. It's that simple. 10 years of conspiracy research can be pretty much summed up in that sentence. You have an invisible spiritual connection. You and I have an invisible spiritual connection to something that's not here, that it appears to want you to cut off. It wants you to cut that tie off yourself, disconnect you from yourself. It's similar to the Harry Potter concept in the last 3 movies of Horcrux. It cannot take the most important part of you directly. Whatever it is that stands behind the screen of reality, it can't take this most important part of you directly. You must do it to yourself. In the example, the analogy, the metaphor, the devil can never force a pen. The devil can never force a pen into anybody's hand and then physically, through strength, move the hand into a signature by force. Person must willingly sign. Using that reference, though, I must note that this is not a Christian presentation. This presentation has no ties to any religion. The reality itself, the screen, whatever is in the final dark room that we'll never be able to point at, whatever it is, doesn't matter. I'm done searching for it. Whatever it is, it has many tools at its disposal to rob you of what is most important. Its main tool, or its most basic tool, is distraction. Distraction. It is a master of distraction. At the most basic and simplest level, that keeps people from themselves. It unnaturally places before a real spirit nonsense that keeps people from knowing themselves and understanding what their life is really for or what it's really about. In front of the truth community, it has placed tens of thousands of rabbits to chase over not just 10 years, going back through JFK, going back a long time before that. Now, it has 1,000 names, these distractions. Probably 1 million names, but let's be conservative. Names like reptilians, names like planes or no planes, and that 5-year distraction. Names like secret societies and what they're doing to screw you. NASA, Robbie Bobby moments, laughing sweet boy presentations, Aquanet societies on the ISS. It comes in a lot of different forms and a lot of different names. The distractions. These are distractions at the root level, put out on purpose and by design to keep people Basically, it's a gigantic graduated animal farm is what it is. Even though we seem to be getting real truth by finding certain things out, at its final level, it's laughing, and we are actually still on a graduated animal farm. Still a few steps away from real truth and real understanding we have to come into now. We're talking about, in terms of everything it's put out, all those I could have gone, reptilians, planes, no planes, sweet boy moments. You could do that for what? Years, just rattle off these names, the things we've chased. We're talking about a cumulative distraction of billions or tens of billions of hours amongst all of us as we researched and chased. As your carousel goes round and round, the beautiful carousel with the polished white horses, the brass ring comes by and I'm going to grab it this time. If I just do one more day of research on what happened to the Pentagon, I'll finally figure it out. Here comes that brass ring. And as you put your arm out, it pulls back again. That age-old trick. But you're meant to believe the next time around you can grasp it. If I just do, here's another presentation on what happened to the Pentagon accounting office. I'll grab it this time. It is what it wants, and it is time to finally understand its pathetic tactics. Somebody looking down on you from outside the snow globe, they wouldn't see you going round and round with a beautiful carousel, and your life just will be all better if you can ever grasp that ring. It's a gold ring now. No, it would look down at you and see you just running on some smelly hamster wheel. That's what they would see from outside the snow globe, just sweating away with stinky towels on a. This person's being fooled down here. This person's being misled. It's time to step off it forever. Even though its most basic and simple tool is distraction of a real spirited being, keeping it from itself. That's just blocking and tackling for the reality. But even how it does that is unnatural and beyond what any, quote, normal man or, quote, normal woman could ever pull off. We know that by now. We've seen too many things over too many years. It's a Goldilocks reality that offers its evidence right down the middle. Goldilocks. This porridge is too hot. This is too friggin' cold. This is just right. It's a Goldilocks reality, and it goes right down the middle, offering just enough conspiracy on all this stuff so we see through it, and we latch onto it, and we make videos and do all this, get all excited as the brass ring comes around again. Just enough truth, just enough normalcy so it fits in to an Anderson Cooper presentation. The people around us believe everything CNN is saying is real, and those that interpret it differently, like us, are crazy. Now, no normal world can play this Goldilocks game over and over and over. It's unnatural, and it's engineered this way. Most people at this channel are not new. They've been doing this a long, long time. I'm a disseminator of information. Everything that I bring forth is not always original, but you would be shocked at the level of knowledge that certain people have that have corresponded with me over the years. But if there's anybody new, let me save you 10 years, literally save you 10 years of work right here. For the most part, everything of any importance in this world is fake. Let me repeat that. Almost everything or everything of any importance in this world as it's presented is fake, faux, and false. I'm not just talking about the obviously absurd, like toaster moon landings and laughing moments at elementary school news events. I mean everything. Let me save you 10 years. Everything. What they tell you the Great Wall is or was is faux, fake. What they tell you the stock market is, how it works, how it moves, is fake. Why we could, obviously we do this for days. A few more examples. Why World War II was fought? Fake. Where humans came from, evolved from? Fake. We'll prove that. I don't have time to prove it to anybody anymore. Trust me or not. None of us have time. We're out of time. Now, the use of the term fake, or that tagging everything like I just did as fake, it extends into areas that most even high-level truthers have never even considered. I don't think we can go far enough here. For example, the amount of things that we need to do each day. to maintain a house, for example, to keep it clean, to keep this up, to keep that up, to keep the tractor in working order. The amount of things we have to run around and do just to live our lives is completely unnatural. And in my opinion, it's engineered. I think easily 50% of everything we do could have been eliminated a long time ago by smart people working together. It's engineered. Email seems to solve a lot of problems until we find it causes us 10 times the amount of work. We're working Sunday night on our vacation. It's always what appears to be a savior turns into something that costs us much more time. This is true across the board. Just, again, it's the blocking and tackling of the screen in terms of its distraction. The amount of time we have to do all of this stuff is unnatural. Never can get anything done. Nobody can anymore. Even how the ego and the thinking brain directs your activities with endless mental chatter, the talking of the spellcraft of English in the mind. This, to me, the mind itself is engineered in a bad way, a way that keeps humans from what they really are. That's engineered. I don't think we can go far enough here. Now, something not natural, to me, still carries this fake tag. In other examples, if we are looking at something that is most definitely real, quote, real, like skyscrapers really did fall, D-Day invasions really did took place, then the reasons behind what happened or how it's explained on TV is a trick or fake. The fake tag is attached to the toe of everything in this reality. Even if something appears to be real, well, how it's explained is fake. See what I mean? Now, the following rule may be universal then. If it comes through a minion or a system of what is called society, if it comes through there, that stinky orifice, then the presentation is fake. Someone may say to me, well, I don't know, matter. My electric bill, comes in the mail, and that's from their systems, and the power companies, their systems, the post office is their system, then that's real. I got to pay for my electricity. The bill comes from a part of the system people describe as the power company. But the rule still applies. The fake tag still is around the toe. Free energy has existed for a long time. There's no question about that. Free energy. They still have us in fossil fuels. I mean, it's so obvious. There were magazine articles and Time magazine in the early 80s about hydrogen cars. They never bring us this stuff. Free energy has existed for hundreds of years, right? The notion that everybody must pay for electricity is a lie. Therefore, this idea, or what we're talking about now, has not shaken loose the fake tag, has it? Well, maybe in the end of the day, there are a few exceptions, but I don't care. For the most part, what I'm saying here applies across the board. There are a few exceptions, and you understand the point I'm trying to make. Now, with all this conspiracy research, what have we been doing for the past 10 years? What have we really been doing over the past 10 years? Or many people screaming, Matt, I've been looking at this stuff since JFK, a very old individual. Hey, there are a few that actually have done this long before 2001, and they are a very rare bunch that should be applauded if they had that sort of sight that long ago. But basically what we've been doing in all of this research is trying to prove to ourselves that all of this is not possible. Even if you weren't consciously aware of it, that's what I believe we were doing. Oh, it can't pull it off again, can it? Another bang event? It's going to, we might not even be consciously aware of it. I think deep down we're trying to prove to ourselves that this all can't be possible. That's what all this research was for, I think. The idea that all of this stuff being pulled off can't be coordinated by regular men and women. It's much about that as it was about trying to understand, well, who's screwing us, or even what do they want by screwing us. Of course, none of our research, sadly, for a decade or much more was about understanding ourselves. That's where things need to change. And, just weeks before the solstice is pretty late in the ballgame to be making the change. And I don't mean this solstice isn't the end-all, be-all. I'm probably assigning way too much stock. It's just a milestone where they're trying to put the reality into the trajectory they want, probably for a 20-year period. It's not the end-all, be-all. If you don't have yourself into the exact right place going into the solstice, you're doomed. I don't mean to, no. But like we've talked about, they do everything around this sort of astrology. And it's probably like just checking boxes off, on their ultimate end goal to move reality and move consciousness, collective consciousness of real people, move it into a certain place, into a lower state. It's probably like check boxes. Did we put the reality on the trajectory we want going in through past and through the milestone? Oh yeah, we're good for the next 20 years. It says one creep says to another in the Chernobyl creepy control room. It's kind of, that just seems to be the way that they do business. Well, I'm glad we got it on the right trajectory because now we lose a lot of our power, blah, blah, blah. So they find power in it. We can find power in it. And what we'll talk about later, what was talked about a few videos back, you creeps, where you want to take reality, I won't go. And people stress the positive, which I forgot, absolutely my mistake. I won't go into the dark place you want to take reality. And by the way, I choose to go where I want. I will choose my own path. Now, in the 3 steps, this leads us to a big revelation going into step 2. Step 1, I see the trick. Oh, the trick. Here comes the trick again. Step one. Here's the trick. Oh, the trick again. Another bang event. Here, the trick over and over. Oh, another fake launch. Oh, the trick. Analyze the trick. Okay, at some point you go, wait a second here. What kind of reality can pull this shit off? Something not real's going on here. Then you get into step 2 and a bigger way of thinking about things. What kind of reality can present everything of importance as fake and present it our entire lives and get away with it? There's a lot of different theories. People say, Matt, it always wasn't fake. It's a devolving reality towards a zeros and ones, towards a matrix. It was real when you were a kid. Some people say there was a moon landing when you were a kid. It's devolved. Everything is coming up faux. It doesn't really matter. We'll never truly understand it. There are different theories and all have merit. But you say, okay, if that's the case, what kind of reality can devolve or be devolved? It doesn't matter. Step 2, hopefully, is a quick bridge to get to step 3. What kind of a world, still in step 2, can almost perfectly coordinate their systems and almost perfectly coordinate their minions so these types of fake actions are never exposed except by a tiny group on YouTube. And it has so perfectly Goldilocks carried forth its script that those who expose what's actually happening are immediately discredited by everybody around us. What kind of organic process could pull that off? A world that's not really real. The answer, it's a realization that there's a whole host of things going on here that we just don't understand. Nothing normal could pull all this shit off. It's an entire reality, different than anything we could have ever imagined. Now, if you're Mandela affected, you don't need any more evidence from me. I've seen enough. Anybody Mandela affected, go, I've seen enough. Oh, fluid reality and then some. If you're not, it's okay. These people aren't crazy over here, misremembering. That's a confabulation. I'm an open truther in all these different areas, but in terms of Mandela effect, these people are misled. No, we all bring different things to the table. We all are different frequencies, different levels, and see different things. It's not confabulation. Too many people, including myself, that see all this stuff. Okay? Step 2. We shouldn't spend too much time on step 2 and get caught here. We will never know this place's exact nature, and we don't need that information. We could research it for the rest of our lives. That's exactly what it would want. Just as the carousel comes around, it'll put a big brass ring out. If you could just get this one, you'll understand it. Oh, there it goes again. Hey, sucker. There are a million questions, things we would absolutely love to know, things we would absolutely love to find out. But you're getting close to the state you need to be in when you just don't give a shit anymore about getting the answers. Things I would love to know. There's a book, a tome of things I would love to know. But you're getting into the right place. You're progressing to 10th level Jedi when you go, I don't give a shit anymore. I've moved beyond it. And it'll tempt you. Now that I move away, the rabbit will run up to me. It'll scratch me in the back of the leg and say, hunt me. Look, come on, I'm just right here. Hunt me. Don't you want to know, Matt, how real Osama bin Laundry was? That's a new hobo code. Don't you want to know, Matt, how real Osama bin Laundry was? What you mean, Kimosabi? Well, was it really a Mujahideen fighter with, it's clearly that his family was big construction billionaires in Riyadh and Jeddah, Saudi, and it was really a Mujahideen fighter that worked with Zygmunt Brzezinski, Mika's dad, Zygmunt. He did all that in Afghanistan, but then maybe they just used that legend and lore and evolved that into the 7-Eleven as a part-time job story. Don't you want to know? What part of the story is real? What part's fake? No. I don't give a shit anymore. I don't play that game anymore, said Vin Diesel as Triple X in the diner. I don't know who you're dealing with here. I don't play this game. Is that the state you're going to be in moving through the solstice and moving through this tribulation that they're trying to recreate, these creepy bastards? You know, I say what is it, Mercutio says, and I like the movie Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio. Mercutio says, I care by my shoe or by my heel, I care not. Come on, Matt, I'll give you one you really want to know, and oh, I do want to know this. You know, Allison, Virginia Allison, 645 on the boardwalk. That Irish black man came up and created that tragedy. Allison Park. You know, they use the same name as the Connecticut. What happened to her? Is she on an island somewhere? I'd love to. Is she serving David Bowie? Man, yeah, that's one I probably would love to know. But I'm at the point. I've got myself into a state where I go, by my heel, I care not. When the higher level of understanding is all that's important to you, then I think we're getting close. We're basically there. The details? No, I don't need details. I see in general how it plays its trick. So why would I need any details? We're getting close. And of course, that follows with a final commitment of I won't play any longer. So what follows next, then, is the next logical question that should come up. Why does society, on behalf of reality, or these systems and minions on behalf of the screen, why does it play its endless tricks? Why? The answer is pretty simple, in my opinion. It plays its endless tricks, number one. It gets something through successfully playing its tricks and pulling these tricks off successfully. It gets something. We'll talk about that. Energy, etc. It gets something all at different levels. The dark reality itself, the minions that execute this, the minions, they all get something. Well, that's pretty obvious. Number two, it was more important and more profound. It was designed to play this role in reality itself. Yeah, it obviously gets something. But how many people go to step two? It was actually designed, every element of the dark here, the minions, the assholes, whatever, everything that ever screwed anybody, it was actually these people, or whatever they are, or whatever this entity is here, or force here, is actually designed to play this role in this reality. If a Christian is yelling Satan at me, I'm not changing my opinion. Could be Satan. Who knows? He was put here, so we learn a spiritual lesson. Doesn't the Christian God have a sort of a reputation for getting kind of pissed off at the populace? You know, the flood, a lot of people killed in the Old Testament. Well, you know, yes, there's a story, 1/3 of the angels. I'm aware of all that. It's not going to change my opinion. Why is it so off the table that God said, yeah, they need to learn a lesson? I mean, look around you. Look at New York City or the big cities or Madison Fifth Avenue, how lost people are. It's not possible that God said, yeah, they need to learn a lesson. Put Satan in there. Let him run around. Yeah, well, Matt, that's not the story. It's 1/3 broke off. I don't care. To me, we're learning a lesson that whatever the dark here is playing a role. If it's Satan or related to Satan or whatever, well, it was put here. So we learned a lesson. It's not going to change my opinion. But again, let's not get caught here. What does it get out of it? The endless tricks. Who put it here? Why was it put here? This is just another kind of animal farm. That's not important. What's important is finding out about ourselves. What does it get? Is it just loosh? Who cares? Here we go again. They want you stuck here. They want us all stuck here. But saying, first level answers like saying they or the power structure or whatever, they get money and power and just that's all first grade stuff. It's far what they get by playing this role is both in perception, but much of it is outside of our perception. It can't be understood in any human terms we can understand, so don't try to. Let's move on. It certainly seems that they're harvesters of energy. Sure, it seems like that. They're constantly putting us in an emotional state for one reason or another because, it puts out a frequency or resonance or harmonics. All right? They get something by putting people out of alignment with their true selves. Anger, worry, jealousy, fear, the deadly sins just creates a harmonics that something here likely feeds on. We'll explain that further. No, who cares? Just sour the milk. Assume something might be feeding on your energies and just sour the milk or don't give it any food. I'm not going to take any chances. I'm still going to do the same thing. I don't have to understand it. I don't have to understand every bit of it to understand what I need to do. Okay? We don't have to know what it gets out of it. We know is there a dark element here? Anybody listening to this unsure? If there's a dark element here, Bueller? Is there a dark element here? Yeah, it's pretty clear. Some sort of corruptor, some sort of Satan that plays the role. Yeah, no doubt about it. But how we deal with it, I see it as the same in all cases. No matter what we can point at or can't point at, the answer for us is the same. The only thing that's important, step 3. This next logical step or question should be pretty obvious, but even to 95% of people who claim to see the truth of this world or, quote, in our community, they don't go here. 95%. They'll spend a decade trying to analyze the tactics and strategies of the dark force that's screwing everybody over, when that sort of analysis we see now is pointless. The only question of importance is, what does the endless playing of tricks by this group, the endless playing of tricks on me by this group, what does it say about me? That's a pretty simple answer. If we could just ever get to this step and realize it, it means we are far more powerful than what we are meant to know and what society has set us up to believe. These mechanisms are set up in K through 12 education and systems and society and minions and all this complicated stuff. It's all here. And it's setting us up from birth to have us willingly transfer power and energy over to it. Anybody would disagree with that? No. So we're still in the basics. We're still in places where almost no truthers ever end up going. It's set up so we transfer our power over to it willingly. Every system, every cog in society is basically set up for that. From waiting in line to the DMV to just throw a dart. It's also there, or whatever is set up through society, to hide our own abilities and to hide the true nature of ourself from ourselves. Now, this sidebar topic, we're going to spend 1 or 2 minutes on, but there's been the greatest thinkers in the world that have spent their whole lives in this. I don't think we need to spend more than 1 or 2 minutes. The notion of death being the end and this life being the center of everything, it's absurd. The notion of death being the end by itself is absurd at this point through everything we've learned. This life is the center of everything. Are you kidding me? You existed before this earth, before the snow globe, and you will exist after. Now, this is so obvious at this point, it's not even worth talking about for more than a few minutes here. Death is not worth talking? No, it's not. A Big Bang atheist is one of the most misled individuals in the history of the known world. A Big Bang atheist who has a Stephen Hawking poster taped to the ceiling. What's truly remarkable about Big Bang atheists is they're quite intelligent and charming at a cocktail party. Many of these people, if measured by society's metrics as to how smart they are, like IQ and their job title, or the American Psycho with his laminated business card, you measure by all these societal metrics, they're geniuses, the Big Bang atheists. They can make you laugh and tell you all about shit at a cocktail party. However, they're spiritually retarded, and that's putting it mildly. Even if we didn't know by now about anything about our true existence, before, after this existence. Even we had no notion, no clue, but we know what to do. One simply has to observe what the system and what the system's minions want us to think about death. That's all you got to do. Observe what they want us to do. And then we know the answer is, go ahead, the opposite. And that leads us to another universal law or axiom that's never broken, or whatever you want to call it. It never is violated. It's just the opposite principle. Throw a dart. This says Pope Francis's visit to Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. in 2016. 2016, well, let's see what the system presented to us. That Pope Francis coming to America was the greatest thing of all time. All the highways going to Philly, shut down. You have to go in 80,000 hours ahead of time to get a spot to see him. It was the greatest thing of all time. That's what was presented. So what does that really mean? Apply the opposite axiom. It means Akeem, from coming to America. Pope Francis came to America. Akeem came to America. He was more valuable to your life lesson. This system puts Elon Musk on a pedestal, doesn't it? It'll put Elon Musk on a pedestal and position him as the leading mind in all the world. He's running 40,000 world-leading companies at the same time. What does that mean using the opposite approach? It means he's not running these companies, and he could actually be somewhat retarded. For the most part, just take the opposite in almost everything or in everything. Even throw a dart. The food group chart they had in elementary school? Yeah, that was a health abomination. Remember that thing? How could one eat like 14 servings of legumes a day? So where are we? What's the next step then if we've arrived here? Well, once your spiritual immortality is understood, there's only, to me, personally, my opinion, there's only a few things that are relevant then. To what degree could you be potentially trapped here spiritually? That relates to, must you do certain things in life to avoid possible traps? David Icke, Saturn Moon Matrix, all that stuff. Okay, I'm not going to ignore it like it might not exist. But once I know that the end of my existence isn't going to end at my death, well, that becomes relevant to me. All right? If any Christian is screaming biblical hell at me, I'll address that. I don't put any stock in that. All right? To me, if I don't come into a certain understanding or do certain things, I believe that the downside will be I will be forced back into another lifetime. I'll be forced to do more work here. I think the notion, it's my opinion, I don't want to make enemies with Christian. We have a lot more in common than where we disagree. You're just going to unsub me because I said one thing that I don't agree. We have more in common than where we disagree. But I think the notion of all of eternity, trillions and trillions of years to the 100th power, all of eternity hangs on what one does in a single lifetime, one that is the cosmic equivalent of 1/billionth of a second. And even then, you don't even understand what you're doing up to age 30. You might lose your faculties at a certain age. You only have 30 to 40 years, and all of eternity hangs on that. I'm sorry, that notion is absurd to me. It's like a teacher passing out final grades 1 minute into the first day of class. Here come the first day of class, first day of the semester. Here come the kids filing in, and the teacher's passing out grades. Like, what? What's this? It's your final grade. We just got here. I based the grade on how each of you pulled out your chair and sat down. Then one student asks, well, what are we supposed to do for the rest of the semester? It's 4 months. And the teacher goes into the closet and pushes out an old TV with a rolling stand. Cosby Show reruns. Lots and lots of Cosby Show reruns. Okay, the other thing that concerns me, if I don't do things right or don't take advantage of the tools this life affords me to become or evolve into a certain thing, it's losing myself. The Pope's comment of going into the abyss, giving away soul tokens. We see people around us that we call NPCs, and we ponder, was that a real boy Pinocchio that gave itself away, that gave so many parts of itself, that went into contract with this existence so many times that it simply gave its spiritual self away? It completely blew up the bridge on the River Kwai. Bridge on the River Kwai, a bridge, spiritual bridge from this incarnation of you to a part of you that's not here. The reality wants you to blow up your rainbow bridge from Thor. Was it the Bifrost, bridge in the River Kwai? Cut connections. I think it is possible that people can just be so in love with this place and give themselves away, maybe over a variety of different lifetimes, that there's just nothing left. They could simply, the Pope's comment, souls, the Pope even said this, bad souls don't go to hell, they just go into the abyss. Now, Tony, who has had certain experiences himself and has advised me about simultaneous and sequential incarnations and how we're different from the minions, he would totally disagree. He would say, you're here learning lessons on behalf of your higher self, like the pinky dipped into the water. You can't give yourself away. It's not even up to you. You're here at the bequest, is that a word, of your higher self. You can't give yourself away. You can't go to the abyss. Well, I believe Tony knows more than me, but, Tony could be mistaken. He could be mistaken. But guess what, guys? Again, remember the same basic point. We don't have to know. Are you going to then bank on one explanation or the other and just give yourself away? Oh, if this resonates with me. We were out here on behalf of higher self, so we can't give ourselves away. So I'm just going to go into contract with the system every chance I get, and I'm going to get the jab, and I'm going to do it because my higher self will always protect me. I'm not going to take any chances. How we live our lives is going to be a certain way no matter what. Not because we're never going to truly know. And this is the best way to live a life, to try to improve yourself, to not give yourself away, to not go into contract with it. It's the right thing to do. Remember that Quaker Oats commercial? Was that an older guy? It's the right thing to do. Quaker Oats. That was the guy he was the bad guy in The Firm with Tom Cruise. That was like 30 years ago. Somebody literally stood up he was the bad guy, the Quaker Oats guy. Somebody stood up in the theater when he was getting his ass handed to him at the end. He said, "It's the right thing to do," and screamed that out. Anybody you have to be over 40 to understand what I'm talking about, or remember that commercial. So, guys, what we do for ourselves, we don't have to know the answers to this stuff. That's what's so great about it. And this conversation we're having now kind of leads into this sidebar conversation, the biggest dilemma of all time for some people. Do you go into the light or not go into the light? Relax. It's not something you have to stress over, I don't think. Here's why. This is what I believe. Should we go into the light? No, and don't do it. Don't do it. Poltergeist was a lie. This concerns a lot of people. It really does. Relax. Where are we right now in this truth/spiritual evolution? Would you say their tricks as they play them, their tricks to us, are exposed pretty easily? Pretty pathetic? The tricks that they play? Yeah, pretty pathetic, except in certain areas how the truth community is used. We have to be more aware of that. But overall, we see through most things. Correct? Yeah. All right. We see the trick now. So why should we not assume that any trick upon death is going to be just as pathetic? Right? Is that as above, so below? In this life and after death, your trick's pathetic here, your trick's pathetic there, as above, so below. Tricked in life, tricked in death. See in life, we can see through this bullshit, can't we? Well, why would you assume you wouldn't be able to see through their bullshit after death? Is it that simple? Maybe. Here's some more good news we've talked about many times in the past. Did they work hard laying down their trick? Do they and their minions run around all over the place and work real hard to get you to believe a certain thing? Oh, yeah, they work real hard. I'm going to say it. You know what's coming. They work real hard getting in my business all day long. Imagine the amount of coordination, what's going on now, the C, V. It's mind-boggling, and it's not human, and it's nothing any normal humans could pull off. We don't need to say that anymore. It works real hard. This tells me they have little power and control over somebody who simply sees the magic trick and has decided to walk out of the game and set certain intentions and made certain decisions to foster who they really are, to get in touch with who they really are, and to move away from what the reality wants them to be. See, if you're confident in your position, they don't have to run around and constantly play tricks. It's not the greatest example, but if somebody built the ultimate prison, like Shawshank, whatever year that was supposed to be, and if Andy wasn't on the last cell, he wouldn't have got his ass out either. He just happened to be the last cell. He'd get into those pipes. Something really secure, Alcatraz. You don't have to be on your game minding this door. The guards can go to sleep from time to time. The prison is so well designed. But what if it's that prison from that movie with Kevin Costner and is it Robert Duvall? They're free grazing. We don't like free grazers in these parts. And they got some of those evil cowboys and they put them in the back room there with the chloroform. They knocked them out. It's like half wood with just bars. And the cell's not that great. And what if you had to keep prisoners back there for 30 years? So you'd have to be more, you have to be getting, mining the store more. You'd have to be checking to see if they're burrowing through the wood. You'd have to have more guards. You'd have to really be on your game. Well, they're constantly running around getting in our business. In what area? In every area of society. Throw a dart anywhere, and they're in our business. Well, does that sound like some all-powerful group that has you wrapped up, that you're just guaranteed to make the wrong decision between going the light or not going the light, and you're just going to come right back here, and they just got... No. They wouldn't have to work so hard. I've said that before. When they stop working hard and just go about their business, then, they're not getting in our face anymore. That's the bad sign, okay, when they're not constantly getting in our face. They couldn't be any more in our face than the sea thing. So you could actually interpret that in a good way. It means they have very little control over the most important part of you. Just decided to go away like Liv Tyler and the elves at the end of Lord of the Rings, just go off and just leave the Middle-earth humans to their own devices and say, they're not paying attention to us anymore. Maybe we lost. That's worse, okay? That's worse. How powerful is something that can only succeed if you need to do it to yourself? It's like a schoolyard bully who you find out can only beat you up by convincing you to punch yourself in your own face. That's all he can do. He tries to convince you have to be convinced to punch yourself in your own face. Well, how do you get to be the bully? So like the recess is coming up and you're like, well, how's this going to go? This bully can only beat me up if I punch myself in my own face. You're not that worried about it. And you go out and he looks pretty menacing, but you know for sure you have to do it to yourself. And well, he's gonna like try to hypnotize me or something. He pulls out a pocket watch on a chain, starts swinging it back and forth like the Maxwell House commercial that broke in during the Kennedy assassination of the guiding light. You just stand there and you've gotten yourself to a certain level, a certain state of truth. You're not going to be misled. You're not going to be convinced or hypnotized to do it to yourself. So you just get a bunch of greasy tater tots from the cafeteria and you smash it into his pocket like Napoleon Dynamite. It's Kim Jong-un dictator tots. That's the side choice for fake dictators all over the world. Several videos back, I talked about what we hear almost too much in this community about, quote, need to work on self, and how most people in our community don't really understand what that means. We also hear strange terms like do shadow work, whatever that is. Again, all this really means, in my opinion, is simple techniques to find the parts of you that really wants to bind and tie to this place, parts of you that really wants to be hypnotized into McDonald's loving it, to find those parts, but then put those parts in the right place, in a pen, under control, ego under control, and then find the parts of you that want nothing to do with this place, that have spiritual connections, and decide to put energy and foster the advancement of one side over the other. That's work on self. It's pretty simple. But simple doesn't mean easy. So when people say work on self or shadow work or whatever, it is work. It is a lot of work. Just because it's easy, just because it's simple doesn't mean it's easy. Like Tiger Woods going back into a Waffle House. Remember, he had multiple, I'm not joking, he had multiple Waffle House waitresses when he was running around on that nice, kind, one of the most beautiful women in the world, and she ended up divorcing him, getting like $300 million. He had all these Waffle House waitresses or something. He was going back behind the dumpsters. I'm not joking, something like that. See, is it easy for Tiger Woods to go into a Waffle House and order a short stack? Yeah, that's easy. But that's simple. That's simple. Okay, but is it easy for him just to have the pancakes and walk out? No, he's going to try to go back by the dumpsters and do whatever he does. It's simple is not easy. Two different things. Very easy to see if you apply this to any sort of addiction and being in a situation where that addiction will call you again, like Tiger Woods' sex addiction and all the Bill Clinton sex shops in Little Rock he used to visit. So it takes work. It takes a lot of work because the tricks that this reality has laid down is like a never-ending minefield that goes off in all directions for all time. It will have a mine laid for everybody all the time. Not just so you screw yourself or you punch yourself in the face, so you bind to it, so you root to it, so you make contract with it. It's endless, endless. So it is a lot of work. There's a trick around every single corner. There's more tricks here than all the horrors in Newark, New Jersey, if you can believe that. A voter registration is a trick. It's a tie. That in somehow you make contract with this place, the ties that bind. Where'd that phrase come from? Your legal fiction, the straw man in all caps on different legal documents. It's a tie that binds to this place somehow. But I don't think we need to be perfect, guys. I know we don't need to be perfect because look how hard they run around and get in our business. If we just, as soon as you start using the straw man through your credit card, they got you. They work too hard getting in your business. We don't have to be perfect. We don't have to go live on a mountaintop somewhere and chant. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. They run around here like they don't have everybody secure. And think of it, most people around us that we deal with, or our family, for example, or friends, have no clue as to the things we're talking about here, or what we're trying to evolve ourselves into, spiritually, you could say. So it doesn't even seem like they have firm control over the masses and the asses, let alone us. So I don't think we have to be perfect. Just remember, take power away from it. Every so often, remind yourself, there's this name on the credit card. It's in all caps, or I give no power to it. I must use this straw man to put food on the table. They created this system, not me. Continuously acknowledge it and disempower it, if you see what I'm saying. Okay, we have to use their systems to live, but make sure, we remind ourselves continuously. Does that mean you have to get in Pennsylvania, we have to get a new license and photo like every 3 or 4 years? Got to go into the DMV. What a nightmare. What a nightmare that's going to be the next time I have to go. But yeah, I just do this little stuff. Who knows if it works or what the purpose is? I will come out of the DMV and say, okay, I have a new license, and this is a straw man, and this is a legal fiction, and it wants me to believe this is all I am, and I'm not this, and I have to continue to use this because I got to drive out to get food. But they created these systems, not me, and it doesn't take away from who I am. So I do these types of things all the time, and I can't say for sure whether that's necessary or not. It's just do what works for you. Here's some more good news. Do you believe every bit of your, quote, soul and spirit, the immortal aspects of you, do you believe every bit are trapped or inside your body, inside your avatar? Do you believe that? I don't. I think it's pretty easy to see that. Just like you might disagree with what Tony would say, but, an aspect of higher self, a tether to a bridge out of here, it's not all inside the body. Okay, I don't even think consciousness comes from the brain. I think the brain is some sort of a receptor or two-way direct TV dish or walkie-talkie. So basically, the avatar can be navigated by real consciousness, with at least an aspect of it not being here. Okay, that's just what I personally believe. And I don't say that because I wish it was the case. I really feel it is that way for a lot of reasons. The a-holes, the minions, through their behavior, once again, they tend to give the truth away. How do they act in this regard? Is everything you are inside your avatar? How do they act? Do they act like every spiritual part of you is inside the body? If so, why are they offering endless tricks or creating endless tricks to make contracts with this place and getting you to cut ties with your spiritual self through your own self-sabotage? It needs to get you to punch yourself in the face. If it's all inside the body, well, why are they playing these sorts of tricks on us all day long? Every aspect of what we could say spiritual connection is inside the avatar. They would probably just take us off to a Dr. Mengele processing center and put a plug up our ass, try to harvest some kind of energy that way. But they don't do anything physical to get our energy, do they? To get the real important parts of us. Do they do anything physical to us? No, they can't. They can't get to that important or most important part of you directly, the spiritual self. They can't get to that part of you Only you can. This is like an Andy Dufresne truth drop in Shawshank Redemption. He says, you know, I had Mr. Mozart to keep me company down in the hole, down in solitary confinement. Oh, they let you tote that record player down there, Andy? No, it was Mozart was in here. He points to it was inside me. And he doesn't just say in the brain. He says it's inside. Music is inside me. They can't get that from us, can they? He's talking. There's tons of truth drops in Shawshank Redemption. He's likely talking about spiritual self. They can't take that away from you, can they? Just like Andy's music. Yes, I guess there are instances, and many instances, unfortunately, where they can kill people. But they can't get to the most important part of you, your spiritual self, directly or physically. That is assured. Okay, if they could, I think we would have a lot of problems. You know, they can't just put a loose cord up your ass. All they would get from us is a fart. So all they can do is play spiritual tug of war and then deceive you to move all your chess pieces against yourself. You know, it's that simple. In the movie Dark City, the strangers studied John because they wanted to understand the human soul. Okay, they couldn't get to it. They wanted to understand it. They wanted to incorporate aspects of it into their collective conscious, but they couldn't get it. They couldn't take it. It's just that theme comes through in a lot of different places. The strangers study you, John. They are interested in your soul. It's something they can't quite comprehend. So they want to incorporate it, John, into their collective consciousness. That's what horrible Keith Sutherland acting sounds like. Here's more good news. If you are listening to this, if you're listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth, then you're real. You know, not if you're listening to this, you are the resistance. You go fight it like John Connor would want. Know that you are completely real. The realest form of Pinocchio, no wood whatsoever. You are an entity being human, not a human being. There are likely other types of, I don't know what to call them, people here. There are other types of people here. But it's a waste of time to ponder what all these different types of people here do or who they really are. Do they have a soul or spiritual connection? You can ponder for a few minutes. Other than that, it's a waste of time. It doesn't matter if your bartender is an NPC. That's not your concern. Take care of yourself. Mind yourself. That's not your concern. Yourself is your concern. However, it's worth noting that what are called minions are almost definitely not the same as you and I. The deleted scene from The Silence of the Lambs is look deep within yourself, Clarice, and if you find that deep place within yourself, you will find it is not the same as George Bush. It's not the same as what's deep inside Lady Gaga, Neil deGrasse Tyson, George Soros, Katy Perry, Governor Newsom. Gavin Newsom going to make another press conference. You will all be arrested if you go outside in San Francisco. You know, look, if you look deep within yourself, well, who's that? Who's the actor? Jodie Foster. She's another minion. So that was just a fictitious line in a movie. If you look deep within herself, ain't going to be there either. But they're not the same as us, and there's potentially millions of these types that aren't the same incarnation that you and I are. But in this life, they have all the money. Oh, isn't that great? Let's give them a hand. Oh, they have all the power, and they have all the sexual pleasures and deviances, and they got all this stuff going on in their eyes wide shut parties. But guess what? This world's the inverse, right? It's the perverted inverse, how they've corrupted it. Luckily, there's still beautiful parts of nature. But if it's the inverse, they have everything here. That means on the spiritual chart, that spiritual bank account, they don't got much there. They got nothing in there. It's like that bank vault, the big black guy in Game of Thrones. He didn't have nothing in there. They got nothing there. So in this world, they dominate. But this is a tiny little snow globe taped to the front of the Titanic. They ain't shit. So you want to talk about a big fish in a small pond. Cosmically, this is a small effing pond. The scale measures weight. If there was a similar device you just step up on that measures spiritual advancement, lack of better words, I don't know. You'd be real high up on this device as it measures you, and then you have Katy Perry get up onto it or whatever, and it wouldn't even register probably for these minions. I think literally they are so outside of the snow globe, they're nothing. They're everything here, but this place ain't shit. They're nothing outside of this, right? They're like attached to this and doomed to this place to a degree. But again, Tony tells me that even they one day can decide to make the leap, whatever they are, can decide to make a huge leap to become more like you and I, a different type of incarnation. They can decide that. They get, tired of 87 million repeating lifetimes and Eyes Wide Shut parties and the same speedboats and the same Peter Stoivitz sipping brandy off the back of the speedboats. That gets old pretty quickly. How many times can you get jerked off? I mean, but most of us, that they can make the leap and be like us. Be like, here we go. I want to be like Mike. Want to be like Mike. Oh, where'd that come from? I got to stay on point, not stray with what could be potential truth drops. Most of us don't want to hear that Hillary Clinton could decide to walk our path or be more like us one day. We don't want to hear that, do we? We want them punished. Right now, we want to think that thing can never be the same as us. We don't want to have anything in common with those bastards. But the highest level, I'm pretty convinced of this, the highest level of understanding in truth, and Mitch has helped me with this, but it always has been in the back of my head. Highest level of understanding in truth is a realization that if you follow the rivers back far enough, you're in tributaries, and you follow it back far enough, we're at a different river, and the Hillary Clinton tributaries over here, you follow it back, and we're likely all one. I don't want to be the same as Hillary Clinton, but trust me, there's something to this, all right? There's something to this. Now, we don't have to, we don't have to come to this conclusion overnight. Just float it in the back of your head and work on this to a degree. This is likely true, all right? Likely true. And if you just for common sense, everything all stemmed from original creation. I mean, even if you follow it like that, then of course all the rivers and tributaries go back to the same thing. But look, guys, nobody wants to say this any least than I do, but I don't hate the bastards like I used to. All right? Nothing good can come from that level of anger and hate. It wants you to fight them. That's part of the role it plays here. It wants to elicit those types of energies and frequencies. I don't hate the Nancy Pelosi slavers like I used to, but I pity them. I'm not going to go send roses or anything, but I see how all this shenanigans has actually benefited us spiritually. I would more pity's the best I can do right now. All right. I'll never be able to hug my jailers, but instinctively I know that, it's better to pity them and much better to go down that path than to hate them and go, I want to go get them and all. Well, that's exactly what they want. So, Donald Trump, his role was to be hated by half the country, and he played it perfectly, beautifully. That's exactly what he was there for. First and foremost, before to do anything else, to put anything in motion, his role was to be hated by half the country. That was 98% of his job description, and he did it wonderfully. All right, they succeeded in using him in that role. Now, these creatures, these creeps, what do I have a lot of friendly names for them? No, but loving them would probably be the most powerful weapon to win. You can just kind of sense it and feel it. You can. I'm not capable of that now. I'll work on pity's the best I can do. At this point, I want to believe Hillary Clinton is a doomed creature, but if I'm really attached to the inner tuning fork, spiritual knowing, at some point we're going to have to give these bastards a chance to make amends, and for the most part, we are probably more related or one. And I'm the last one that wants to say that, trust me. One final summary for anybody upset at what I'm saying. These a-holes are playing a role here in this realm. They were put here It's not as simple as, it was all beautiful kumbaya, the golden age, Matt. Everybody sat around under the fig trees and ate till their bellies were full. Nobody had to work. The temperature was always 75 and sunny. You get jerked off whenever you wanted to. Everybody just sat around and sang kumbaya. No, nobody would learn anything if that was the case. These jerks, maybe we were like that. Who knows at some point. And they're like, these guys, we're not learning anything here. Just sitting under trees all day. They put these assholes in there to screw with them. These assholes here are playing a role that you and I are benefiting from spiritually. That's all that's important. But I got to wear a mask. Benefiting spiritually, is what? 100 trillion times more important than any kind of they put me in a mask or anything that relates to the blocking and tackling and basics of this world. One's a little bit more important than the other. Coming into spiritual stuff, it's like 1,000,000,000 billion trillion times to the 100th billionth power more important. So I'm not going to send roses to these bastards. They don't care for me either. But they're playing an essential role. There's almost no question about that now. Some new truther or a lot of people in truthers are just a basket case because of what they're doing to the entire world today. I don't love it. No, of course it's horrible. But if you're a basket case over what they're doing, you're not in the right place mentally or spiritually, especially going into the solstice. You're just all pissed off and all doom and gloom, and you're not in the right place. And you don't have a lot of weeks before the first strange little milestone, okay? If you're all a basket case because of what they're doing, you're not in the right place. The waking world to a dream while sleeping is probably the same relationship as this world to a higher level of consciousness that will come at death. Okay? You go to sleep, you dream. You wake up. That is the same as this life to probably another level of consciousness that will come at death. Death, which is really, should we call life, because everything here is inverted. You can say, well, on the day of my death, I want this sort of coffin. No, you just reverse it. On the day of my life, I want the Bart Simpson special anniversary edition coffin. So Mitch and I, we reverse it, the day of our life. Mitch has a small YouTube channel. Sometimes I will, at some point in the future, guys, I will introduce you to. Right now we got our work to do, getting ourselves in the right position going into this solstice. Many of my dreams, back to the ratio of dream world to this world to this world to what might be after death, many of my dreams are terrible. They really are. I've been hunted and bitten by dogs. I've been stuck by demons with long spears. I mean, really horrible. My cousin once said to me in San Francisco, when he lived with me, you live with your cousin in San Francisco, Matt, or something we should know? No, we had to share the $2,400 a month rent, and that was in the year 1999. How big was it? 700 square feet, 800. I'm not kidding. $2,400 a month. Anyway. That's a bargain now, I'm sure. But he said, if I were you, I wouldn't go to sleep. Your dreams are so effed up. But when I wake up, it all makes sense. A second later, after waking up, all is right in the world again. Just everything that happened in that reality makes sense. It all fits in. It's just a dream environment, and it just all makes sense. So the perspective and levels of reality are put perfectly into place when one level of consciousness becomes another. So it's the same thing is going to happen on the day of our life. It's almost obvious, right? But think about it. All those things that harm me in my dream, I mean, I could tell you a story. You wouldn't believe some of the dreams I've had. I don't spend my morning, with my coffee, plotting and hating the things that were in my dream that were screwing me over and how I'm going to get them. Or I don't have any hatred or for those things. That's honestly not a lot different on the day of your life to how you'll see Hillary Clinton. She's the most hated thing in the world now. Day of your death, day of your life. You say, I see what that thing was trying to do. It was just playing a role in that existence, in that incarnation. And this is kind of important to have this sink in. So let's just do a dumb example. The scene is Starbucks, and Matt's in there. I'm sitting by myself, and I'm all kind of tense and pissed off, and a friend sees me and walks up. I don't have any friends, but somebody that knows me from the channel walks up and says, Matt, you look intense. what are you doing here in this Starbucks sitting by yourself in the corner? You have this weird look on your face. Say, oh, hey, Rob, good to see you, man. Well, there was this guy in my dream, and he messed with my car. This guy in my dream last night messed with my car. It's like John Travolta in Pulp Fiction. You don't mess with a man's car, man. That's chicken shit. And I'm sitting here trying to figure out how I'm going to get him. That guy in my dream's going to pay a price. So is it possible, honestly, on the day of your life, you will look at Hillary Clinton as the guy that messed with your car in the dream, and it's absurd that you'd want that guy in your dream to pay a price? And is it that absurd? Is it possible? Yeah, it is. It is possible. On the day of your life, you might come into full consciousness or a different type of consciousness, kind of like Bill Murray, guy from the Dalai Lama, for carrying his bag, and say, oh, Governor Wolf of Pennsylvania, Governor Gavin Newsom, George Bush, Hillary Clinton, Gaga. I see what these slimy bastards were up to in that place. I could see what their role was. Oh, it did. It helped me experience something. It helped me learn because I didn't give all of myself away to them. They actually helped me. You can believe that. As I alluded to, my other friend Tony believes you are here on behalf of your higher self, having experience, but basically being used. Yeah, don't get upset. We are basically maybe being used. You using you. It's you. I'm using myself. Yeah, basically. I don't understand it either, but it does make sense to me. All right. If you, as an example, like you're hiking in Norway and you came across this raging river that was formed by a melting glacier. Do they have glaciers in Norway? Probably. But raging river. What's the best way to experience that river? Just jump right in? Get carried downstream, knock your head against a boulder. River's like 31 degrees, die of hypothermia. No. The best way to experience it is to take your glove off and dip your little pinky finger into the river to experience it. Put your big toe in if you didn't have boots on. The pinky dipping into the river, it's potentially you here to what's called your higher self. And just like the operating system in the movie Her with Joaquin Phoenix, Joaquin Phoenix in the movie Her fell in love with this beautiful, sensual voice that came from the operating system. Just like in the movie Her, that operating system had hundreds of other boyfriends that she was juggling along with Joaquin Phoenix in real time and talking to many of them at the same time. So just like that, your higher self, according to Tony, I don't know, it seems to resonate with me. Your higher self has many other pinkies. It's dipping into water simultaneously all over the universe, potentially in different timelines. You're just a pinky. You're just a pinky. Getting all upset, thinking you all that. You ain't all that. You're just a pinky, boy. So relax. This is similar to Colin's speech in Black Mirror Bandersnatch, the Netflix series Black Mirror, the Bandersnatch. You can Google it or YouTube it, Colin's speech. It is creepy, but Colin's like, we're just one aspect of the same thing, and there are thousands of us going on at the same time, and, it doesn't matter. Just jump off this bridge and, so it's like that. But anyway, so that's an important point that I wanted to express, but I don't, trust me, I have no personal insight in this area, only a collection of what others have shared with me. So that winter solstice is coming, and most of us, we have a lot of work to do before the winter solstice. But victim mentality has to go, guys. The whole point of this video or this presentation is to start putting yourself or put yourself in a state where the trajectory will carry through the solstice and carry through all the milestones. It's been taught to us since birth, this victimization. All sorts of truthers are saying it now. If I would have known they were going to put the world into this sort of state or place, I would have done so much more. I would have gone and seen the pyramids, and now I'm stuck in my leper colony. I'm not going to get the jab, so I'll be stuck as a leper. Avery and Kush, and oh no. It's a losing mentality, guys. Do I have it all figured out? No. Do I drop into this mentality all the time? All the time. Like I said, sometimes it's easier to make this presentation and then to go do it myself is much, much, much more difficult. But it's a losing mentality. It's a mentality that actually creates ties. Oh, I would have done so much because I love this place so much and I want to make ties and root to it, and the ties that bind. It's a losing mentality. So what do? The opposite. Here we go again, the opposite. Based on all that's happened, honestly, pat yourself on the back. Look how far we've come, or you've come, in terms of understanding who you really are. I mean, where were you on 7-Eleven was a part-time job in 2001, where I was working for the insurance company. I was looking to see what sort of car to lease. I mean, think where we've come. This is so much more important. And that's not even the right words. It's everything. So what if I can't go visit the pyramids and I can't go, I have to get Amazon food delivery for the rest of my life? That's not important. Time doesn't even exist. So this life will be over before we know it. It'll be boop, 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 oh, death. I mean, just things are moving so quickly. Decades are going by so quickly. To put any kind of stock in this life at this point doesn't mean I want to go jump off a bridge or anything, but to give it as much weight even as we do is a joke. It's a joke. Look, the creeps will continue to do what they do best. They follow a very similar playbook, and they've always done it. They'll in this case, they'll try to reenact biblical tribulation. They'll do that between eclipses, the 7 years between eclipses, and they'll use things like the winter solstice to put reality on a creepy trajectory. They'll keep doing their thing because it's like a robot. That's what they do. It's a Geico. If you're Hillary Clinton and you're George Soros and Henry Kissinger, it's what you do. That's what their role is. It's limited. But, what we must do for ourselves is very simple at this point. You just say it out loud every day. Hey, assholes, McFly, where you're trying to take reality, I won't go. And again, smart people reminded me to always end with a positive. Never like that. Where you're trying to take reality, I see it, McFly. I won't go where you're trying to take reality. But obviously, I'm not going into your dark place, so I'll go where I choose. End on a positive. Imagine, imagery, intention. I will go where I choose. When? In this life, the next, or wherever I choose. It's time to abandon the pointless truth research and put ourselves mentally, emotionally, spiritually on a trajectory going through the winter solstice. If they're going to use it, we'll use it. Mind, body, spirit, do it. It's time to leave just look at your subscriptions even. Oh, this is a fear channel, unsub me if you have to. Whatever, walk away if you have to. Whatever you need to do, it's time. All right? Catch yourself. Oh, I just heard this or that and I'm getting scared. They closed a meatpacking plant. I'm terrified. Catch yourself. Oh, look what it's doing to me. I'm not going to be fearful. If you're fearful, back up far enough from this ridiculous snow globe. Go back 50,000 feet, then 50,000 miles, and look down on it. Like, are you kidding me? Just when you're flying in an airplane, you look down on a city like that. Stuff going on down, it doesn't look that important. Somebody's worried they just got a leak in the plumbing just happened, and this and that. And you look down from 25,000 feet in the airplane, and it just doesn't look that important. Back up if you're scared, if you're worried. Put it in the right perspective. This little tiny existence is a joke. There's beautiful things here, and there's still a lot of beauty and a lot of heaven still mixes here, especially through nature, through your family, or through your pets. And find the heaven is still here. They haven't corrupted everything. Embrace that aspect and show gratitude and appreciation wherever you can find the heaven. But as death approaches, for some people 40 years from now, and some people listening to this 30 days from now. I mean, who knows? But in the ultimate scheme of things, there is no difference between 40 years. The ultimate scheme, if you back up far enough, there's no difference between 40 years and dying in 30 days. No difference whatsoever. To even something that's very, very old in this place. From the perspective of the Rock of Gibraltar, for example, there is no difference in the lifespan of a human being and a mayfly that lives one day. And that's something that's here. Imagine the perspective of something that's not here. So to put too much stock in is an absolute joke. And whenever you're in the avatar, there will be limitations. You will have fears, worries, anxieties. The idea is to catch yourself and to work yourself through it, to overcome it, not let it dominate you. All right? Whenever our death comes, we will appreciate everything wonderful that happened here. You know, some people have more wonderful things than others, but we all, by the end of our time, will have a lot of things that were just incredible that we experience here. Not that we covet it and want more of it and try to root to it and attach to it, but practice gratitude and appreciation for it every day, not just on our deathbed. So say it every day. Make sure you have a little object that reminds you, I won't go, where they want to take it. I won't go. I will go where I want. And you should have something probably with you or carrying your pocket if you have to. Something, I was going to say, to take it through the trinket through the solstice, but, why ever get rid of it? Remind yourself every day that the creepy cement simply does not form and harden around our feet. Good luck with others, but it doesn't work on us. We see the trick. And guys, thanks for listening.